Do I leave my spouse or not? Which career do I go for? Do I stay in this country one more year? Or shall I just ditch everything and go to Italy? Hi everyone, my name is Arina and welcome to my channel where I help people to get unstuck, take the right action and become successful. And today I will share a scientifically proven tool that will help you proactively make winning long-term decisions for yourself. Decisions that will have a very significant impact on your little kingdom. So get yourself a cup of coffee and let's go. Typically, people make 3 mistakes when making long-term decisions for themselves. Mistake number 1. Often when making a decision, people are very tempted to think very black and white. For example, a 27-year-old guy still living with his mom in her apartment might think, shall I get a place of my own or shall I just keep living with my mom? In this case, he only considers 2 options, either option 1 or option B, either yes or no, to be or not to be. Mistake number 2, people make decisions in a very unsystematic way and mostly when they're emotionally triggered by something. For example, a guy still living with his mom might think, oh, I'm so angry. My mom is going through my stuff again. She just disrespects my boundaries and I should move out right now. And then he thinks, oh, but then I would have to clean and cook for myself and to live alone and also spend a lot of money on rent. And then what? No, I'll stay with my parents for a bit longer. So he takes a positive aspect of one scenario and compares it against a negative aspect of different scenario, gets very confused and just decides to stay where he is. Mistake number 3, people don't understand where they're going long term. Or in other words, they make decisions without having a final goal in mind. Going back to a guy living with his mom example, if his long-term goal is to save up on a down payment for a house, then living with his mom may not be such a bad idea after all. But if his goal is to maybe get a girlfriend, get more personal space and repair his self-confidence and self-esteem, then getting an apartment and moving out would be a much preferred choice for the guy. So to help you make amazing long-term decisions for yourself, there's a wonderful table that I'm going to walk you through, giving you a real-life example from my coaching practice, an example I would never forget. So I had a client, a very beautiful married lady, who told me that she married her husband because he ticked all of her perfect guy boxes. But she doesn't love him, she never have, and she cannot decide whether she should stay with him or move out and live with her lover. Her lover is a man who makes her laugh. They have a lot of fun together. They share similar tastes and lifestyle preferences. So, to sum it all up, she wants out of her marriage but cannot make a decision. Okay, so in this particular case, we have 2 basic scenarios. Scenario number 1 is stay with the husband and leave the lover. Scenario number 2 is stay with the lover and leave the husband. But to help the brain to pick the most winning decision, it has to be given at least 3 different scenarios to process. So if we have 2 scenarios, that is A and B, we need to come up with a 3rd scenario that is not A and not B, a 4th scenario that is A and B, and a 5th scenario that is something else for the brain to consider and process. In our example, this means coming up with following scenarios. Option number 3, leave both men and live alone. Option number 4, stay with both men at the same time. Option number 5, leave both men and find another man. So now that we have our 5 scenarios, in the box below the columns, we write down a final goal that we want these scenarios to help us achieve. It doesn't have to be short, but it has to be articulated with maximum clarity. So during our session with Lady X, we unearthed that she wanted her partner to be reliable, respectful, calm, non-explosive, and genuinely interested in her. She wanted to see in him a good father for her children, able to provide a calm, stable, and a happy space for her and her future children. Once we have our goal articulated, it's time to start filling the table, going through each scenario one by one. So for each scenario, there are 4 questions to answer. Question number 1, what are the subjective drawbacks of this scenario? Or what puts us off of this option, regardless of how amazing it might look look on paper. Question number 2. What are the subjective benefits of this scenario? Or in other words, what makes this option so appealing to our hearts, even if this variant doesn't look that good on paper? Question number 3. What are the objective drawbacks of this option? In other words, if this scenario is chosen, how might it hinder or complicate our achievement of the final goal? And question number 4. What are the objective benefits of this option? Meaning, if this option is chosen, what are the practical benefits it would bring? So, in the table on the screen, I have filled out the first scenario for you, just for visibility and for simplicity. That is to stay with the husband and ditch the lover. So the subjective drawbacks of this choice might sound like this. I don't love this man and never have. Our intimate life is horrible and we have nothing in common. We're basically different people living in the same space. Next, the subjective benefits of this choice would be, if I continue living with him, then I don't really have to change anything. I already know all of his bad sides. I know what to expect, and we're kind of used to living together and running this household. The objective drawbacks. My husband is extremely passive-aggressive and he abuses me emotionally. He constantly criticizes me, and next to him, I feel completely worthless. I don't think he will be a good father because he's very self-consumed and very egoistic. On top of that, he's extremely stingy, and sometimes I feel like I'm an unpaid maid. And finally, objective benefits. He owns an apartment that we live in, and I don't have to spend money on rent. That's it. The first column is filled, and this is how we complete columns for each one of the scenarios. And what I like about this method is that it takes into account both objective and subjective reasons. Because the truth is, no matter how amazing a scenario might look on paper, if it makes you feel sick just thinking about it and your heart really hates it, then it's not going to work out. Also, when going through this process, 80% of people halfway go, I know a better way. I can't believe I didn't think about this. There's another scenario. Alright, next step. Once you've filled everything out, go through each point and argument that you made. For positive ones, write +1. For the negative ones, write -1. Add up the numbers for each column, and in the end, each scenario, each column should have its own score. Some column might score -15, the other column might score +45, and this way your brain sort of visually sees which scenario is the best for you given the situation that you're in the minute. But that's not all. At this point, you might feel extremely overwhelmed, but that's normal. That's how it's supposed to be. Put the table aside and take a long break from it. Go have a coffee, clean your room, watch a movie, and go to bed. In the meantime, your brain will be subconsciously analyzing in the background all of those scenarios that you've written out and will be cooking up a perfect solution for you. It will reevaluate everything again and again, and trust me, one day you will wake up with a very clear vision of what you want to do next. This is it. I'm sharing this instrument with you because I believe this tool has to be used by everyone and not just people who can pay $300 per session. Let this be my personal contribution in your happier future. So please like, share, and subscribe. Until the next time.